Today I'm actually going to be going over Akuma, an Akuma character coverage. What my plan was for today is to compare him to the other Shotos. So I don't know if anybody was watching before, but I have all three of the Shotos, all their frame data, opened up in tabs, so we can take a look at the differences between their normals and to see how Akuma varies compared to them. Because him as a character, he's obviously he has no EXs, so he's really a much more he's a much more fine printed character. In other words, like his normals really carry him a long way, and the fact that his normals have a lot of strength to them and how fast they come out is one of the reasons why he's a good character compared to others. Now him on the tier list, he's actually like high tier or so. He's like a couple below. He's a couple tiers below Ken. He's about like he's about 6th or 7th in the tiers, I think. But yeah, so he's a really good character. But in terms of being a Shoto, he's definitely one of the strongest. So we're just gonna be going over the normals, and in case you guys didn't know, I'm doing a little comparison here between Ken's low forward and Akuma's low forward. So we'll get to that later. But anyways, so back to this. Now the super of choice obviously would be the first one, simply because you get 2 bars of it. It's pretty much the same thing with all the supers. You get 2 bars of everything with all 3 of the supers, but it's just this one, it has a lot more leeway to it in terms of like when you connect it into super. So for example, low short will work, low forward sort of max range will work, low strong will work, stand fierce will work. A lot of things will work into the super compared to others where it wouldn't really maximize the damage, or it would have to be like situational. So we'll get to the other ones later. Now obviously he doesn't need any EXs, he doesn't have any. So that's probably one of the reasons why he has 2 bars for each of his supers. Now when it comes to playing casually, he's similar to Ken in the fact that he's versatile. Like you can play him anywhere you want. Like you can play him defensive, since he's capable of doing like air fireballs. This really helps him in the defensive game, but not only that, but it also helps him with the offense too, as you can jump in with it. Now one of the main ways to go about this is to figure out your type of style. So I mean, you can be an offensive player, and you'll have to learn the basics, basically which moves go into super. So low short, low forward obviously, and you'll have to also learn the bread and butter combos, which are basically fierce punch into light, into short tatsu, into fierce shoryu. Now you can connect this in a very different types of ways. Basically, he has a dive kick and his demon flips. You can connect it from that. You can from that, and simply a jumping combo, which makes him one of the best characters to, he's definitely a more of offensive type of character, but you can play him any type of way you want. You can play him defensive, as I said before, but most people have luck with him by playing offensive. So yeah, I mean, he's one of those characters that have, a lot of damage output. I mean, as you can see, that one combo did like a good chunk of life. And that's basically just his bread and butter. So say if they whiff a grab, you walk back and forth, they whiff a grab, low forward, tatsu to show you, that's about like 15 to 20% of their life. So it's really something that you have to pay attention to when you want to punish. Now his normals, most of his normals are the same thing as the other characters, as the other shotos, but some of them are more reliant than others. So for example, like his low strong is similar to the others, but it's, you would really want to like just stay at a certain distance, like outside dashing range, and just buffer Tatsu from it. So for example, if you're at this type of range, you would buffer low strong with the Tatsu. So you would just do it really quick. So if they dash into you, you would get a low strong into Tatsu and you can get a free combo from it. So for example, yeah, set this up really quick. This is just one example of being an offensive type of player. So if you want to really, maximize your damage, you can do something like this. And as you can see, you can connect the low strong into the Tatsu, which is, basically free damage. It's a free punish, basically, if they run into the low strong. You'll probably notice this from Kuroda a lot, since he does a lot of low strongs, and he'll connect it into Tatsu. So it's one of the ways to start an offense. I mean, you can go to Shoryu, you can go into Fierce Punch, or you can go into another Tatsu. And then go into a demon flip mix-up or whatever you want to do. So that's basically one of the ways he starts his offense. You start it either from the ground game, which is the most, it gives the most payoff, since you're not really opening yourself up by jumping. Because as everybody knows, when you jump, you're at a bigger disadvantage than when you're on the ground. So if you really want to stick to the ground game, this is one of the good ways to make sure you keep that offensive going and just get in however way you want. So now, aside from that, his next normal is his standing fierce. Obviously this is much different than the other shotos. This is mainly used for like spacing wise. I mean, you can do like low short into standing fierce, and as you can see, it spaces them out perfectly. Let's see, the max distance about right here, which is pretty far. So if you really want to worry about somebody who's like trying to jump at you after a block string, like low short, or anything like that, or even press a button like low short, you can just do that. Or if you're simply just playing spacing or with footsies, you can just just space yourself out perfectly and keep it as a setup. So that's just one way to look at his normals. His crouching fierce is pretty much the same thing as the others, basically used for anti-airs, but the good thing about this is that you can connect it into Tatsus, which makes it even better for anti-airs. So for example, if somebody tends to jump in on you a lot, you can do standing jab as an anti-air, or crouching fierce as an anti-air, or even standing fierce as an anti-air. Now what this does is, I mean, since it's Akuma, you get to connect into his Tatsus like that. So you can do something like that, and then just connect your combos. Now this gives you a little leeway because, I mean, you don't have to worry about them jumping in at you. You have plenty of options for it. So in certain matchups like versus Dudley or or makoto, or even like just the basic shoto matches, you can you use this in a variety of ways to connect into your combos. And the good thing with this is that even if you miss and you simply just anti-him them with a fierce punch, the most you'll get is just a block tatsu that way, or even hit if it crossed them up, as you saw just now. And even if they land, the most they'll probably get is just a landing combo, which is definitely better than a jump-in combo. So it's it's basically one of the best options you have. Now another way for anti-airing is just using his tatsus, which everybody knows. I mean, you've seen a lot of Akuma players online or something like that. They would always, just do tatsus like that because they expect you to jump. But what they don't realize is that when they keep it like that, it makes it really obvious that that you're gonna jump tatsu. So it leaves you much more susceptible to punishes when you land, compared to when you do something like this. You're relatively safe. So that's one thing. You can do neutral tatsu, which goes into a combo. You have to make sure that 2 of these hits connect if you want to go into the short tatsu. So you'll say 1-2, short tatsu, and then uppercut. So that's one of the ways that you can continue your offense. Now that's only considering the anti-airs, as I went over with the spacing on the ground. Aside from that, you can use, basically these normals will come in handy when it comes to you doing like pressure moves. So for example, a dive kick. Or you can just simply do low strong. So the whole point of it is to make sure you mix up your your normals and how exactly you go on the offense. So now when it comes to playing the ground game, I mean, obviously you have your low shorts, you have your low forward. Now Akuma's low forward, I actually did a comparison like on this earlier. I mean, I kind of went overboard a little bit, but you'll notice that if you look at the frame data for it, his crouching forward compared to Ken's crouching forward, you'll see that it's actually better, since it's better in certain, not certain instances, but in terms of like numerical data, it's better because it has it has less block advantage and stuff like that. So you won't be able to get punished by for example, when he does a low forward and it's blocked, he can get punished by Ken's super. Now when it comes to Akuma doing this, it's much tighter, so it leaves Akuma much safer to do low forward than it is for Ken. Not only that, but the recovery is actually better, so he recovers much faster. Well, not much faster, but a frame faster than Ken. Now, in terms of the range, I actually went over this right here too. This might be a little difficult to see, but let me maximize this. Now I'm pretty sure you can see that they look similar. I lined them up on the on the crouching frame where they do the low forward with that little red line. Now they look pretty much the same, but if you look closer, I'm gonna do another line. I'm gonna line up their hitboxes right here. So right here with Ken, I'm gonna line up the Akumas, and you'll see that Akuma's actually overlaps a little bit, which technically means that his. Let me show you much closer. Oops, sorry. Might be a little easier to see, but you can see right here that Akuma's is actually a little bit farther than Ken's, and if you look closer at the inner part, it actually covers a lot more, which is really odd. But that just shows that Akuma has a farther hitbox than Ken in terms of doing his low forward. So when you look at that, it just goes to show you that Akuma's is actually a little bit better than Ken's low forward. Now this is all on the startup of the frames. I didn't really take a look at it in terms of like when they're maximized. So like in the duration of the hit frames, I didn't really take a look at that. So I'm gonna look at that right now. So right here is where it's at its fullest. I'm gonna take this picture. And do this really quick. Now time for Ken's. Good lord. Now this is all just an analysis to see which low forward is better. I mean, obviously you don't really have to do this, but it really puts everything into perspective when you play these characters. So for some people this might be like, oh, like this might be a little tedious, but it's really helpful so you know how to manage how to play your game, because basically you want to make sure that when you do your low forward, you don't really want to run into anything like a punish super or like just a miss spacing. So I'm gonna line them up. Actually, what the hell happened? So I should have had all this prepared before, but I figured I'd go over it with y'all. gonna line these up. Right about there. So now we can take a closer look, and I kind of messed this one up a little bit, but just need to be a pixel. Okay, so here we are, and now we're gonna just line up and see who's. And as you can see, they're actually the same. So, which is funny because now on the startup frame, so for example, as soon as I'll show you, as soon as Akuma does his low forward, it's actually reaching farther than Ken's. So this actually means a lot because when it comes to doing like when it comes to playing footsies or spacing or wanting to confirm it to super, it'll be much different for Ken since he can't confirm right that instant, since it'll be less distance. Not to mention the fact that as soon as you do it, you have a bigger amount of, like, not a bigger amount, but a smaller amount of pushback with Ken than you would with Akuma. So if you were like right here, you can do a variety of things. You can low forward super, go into demon flip, roundhouse tatsu, or simply just you know, low forward fireball. So a whole bunch of these things come into play when you're, you know, when you're doing spacing or when you're wondering what can get punished. So, you know, keep that in mind. I mean, although all this may seem like a little tedious, it's still pretty important to know how the game works, how your character works, and the differences between the characters. So, you know, this is basically, you know, the analysis that I did. You know, as you can see, the startup, as soon as the foot comes out, it has a little extra range to it, but on the active frames, it has the same amount of range as Ken's. So, but as I showed earlier, it's actually the same amount of startup, but less recovery, less block advantage. So it's a little bit better than Ken's low forward. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So that's his low forward. You can do a whole bunch of things with this, and like I said before, you can go into super, low forward tatsu, low forward uppercut, but that's not really necessary if you can go into tatsu with it. You can go into roundhouse tatsu for pressure. You can do demon flip, or even just teleport backwards, you know, for escaping, or you know, however way you want to play them. So roundhouse is pretty much the same thing as you know, as the other shadows. So there's no reason to go over that. But so yeah, now that's his normals. Now his fireballs are actually more important than the others, simply because his startup on the fireballs is actually faster. So I mean, you'll notice that if a character was to jump in on Akuma and he just like does a fireball, it'll actually come out almost instantly right there, because his fireball is actually much faster on startup than Ken's and Akuma's. I mean, than Ken's and Ryu's, excuse me. So what this means is that, you know, you can be at this distance about, well, obviously not against Chun or against any other character, but you know, if you want to play against like Dudley or Urien or any big character or any character that doesn't have any meter, it definitely is safe to do fireballs, because not only does he recovers rather quickly, but it's actually faster than normal. So you know, it's faster than Ken's, but it's a little slower than reuse, but it's still good. Because, you know, what this does, it really baits the opponent into jumping. So obviously, you know, they didn't want to go through the whole point of like parrying the fireball when they can just simply jump. Now what this does is obviously you can bait them into jumping and start your mix up from there. You can go with jump tatsu. You can wait until they just reach that jumping range, and you can anti-air with jab tatsu, or you can anti-air with shoryu, and you know, or you can even dash under. So what this does is basically it starts your whole offensive game, or however way you want to play. I mean, you can force them into jumping, so you can do jump back fireballs and, you know, really play with them, or simply just go on the offense and just, you know, get in their face with it. So now it plays a really big role in matchups like, you know, with big characters. So for example, against Urien, it's actually one of the most important things to do, because, you know, obviously he has to tackle, and, you know, he doesn't want to lose his charge, so he's gonna want to jump. Now that whole fact about jumping, you know, that really leaves Urien at a disadvantage, because when you do a jump tatsu on Urien, when he recovers from the parry, and even then, when he does a jumping move, it comes out rather slowly. So it's really going to be a big part, because, you know, he's not going to be able to punish you properly. He's going to have to worry about parrying, and if he messes up, then, you know, then he's either in the corner, or he takes a big chunk of damage, or he just gets pressured. And all three of those options are definitely bad in that matchup. So it's one of the reasons why when you do a fireball, it's one of the good options to have against characters like that. So you have fireball, you can mix that up with a whole bunch of things. Like I said, tatsu. You know, make sure you anti-air them. So that's his fireball. Most people, you know, online, they tend to abuse Akuma's tatsus. They think that, you know, something like low forward into roundhouse tatsu is safe, but for those of you who are playing Akuma, this is not really safe at all. Only on certain characters like Dudley, I would say it's a little bit safe. On Necro, no, not on Necro. Maybe on Q, it's possibly safe. But even then, if the character has a quick enough move to punish you after that, since this move alone, it has a block advantage of a minus 3 or minus 4, something like that. Let me check really quick. So his tatsu has about, yeah, his roundhouse tatsu has minus 5 on block. So that's a good chunk of, you know, leeway for the opponent to punish you. I mean, they can do low jab, or they can do like a shoryu or something like that to punish you. And it really makes all the difference, because, you know, when people think that you can just do this, most of the characters can duck under it. Most of the other characters can duck and parry. Or most of the other characters, it goes over them and they can just, you know, punish you on the other side. Or some other characters will just wait until, you know, the move stops and they just punish you right there. So it's really something that you don't really want to abuse. I mean, since you have other options, you can do like you know, air fireball or something. You can do demon flips. You can do low forward fireball. It recovers rather quickly. But aside from that, when you want to start your offense, you really want to make sure that, you know, you don't want to just do tatsus all day, you know, like that, because you're not really maximizing anything. If you want to be an offensive player, you want to get the most damage you can. So, especially if you do this all the time, Akuma's a weak character, so if you get hit by a strong punish, you know, that's like a quarter of your life gone already. And you don't really want to run that risk when you can just simply do low forward tatsu, like low forward demon flip or something, you know? So when you want to space it out like that, it really keeps things, you know, it really minimizes the risk that you have to get punished. So just keep that in mind when you're going on the offense. Now, that's avoiding, you know, the whole tattoo thing. Now there's different ways you can get in. Obviously you can go in with the jump in. You know, you can always do a late jump in. You know, similar to Ken, where if you do a late jump in, it's relatively safe. You know, just so basically, if they parry it, then you can get a tech afterwards, or if they block it, then you're safe. And you know, those are the basic, you know, that's the basic way to get in, the most fundamental way to get in. Now the difference with Akuma is that, you know, he can mix it up with, you know, a different amount of ways. He can do dive kick. You know, it's similar to Yin and Yang's, where if they hit the knee or the lower part of the character, they can connect into tattoo. Same concept with demon flips. Although you can actually control this, so you can do an empty one and go into grab for a bigger mix-up, or you could simply, you know, space it to get him with the demon flip grab. They can't recover from that, so once you do it, you get it. You can dash in freely. Actually, they can recover from that. Sorry, but it's really strict. So there's that. Or simply jumping in with a fireball. Now, what this does, I mean, you can vary this a different amount of ways. You can do early. You can do it early and then demon flip afterwards. Or you can just simply do it late and then go into something else. What that does is basically, if you do it late, they'll want to parry it, and you know, you get a second move to do afterwards since you recover quicker. So you can do something like a jumping fireball with a fierce punch, or jumping fireball with a tattoo or whatever, or even demon flip. So you have a whole bunch of options that in your arsenal, so you can basically mix up your offense in a different amount of ways. So, for example, if I wanted to make sure that I was going to get on Chun-Li in the safest way possible, I would choose, you know, at this distance, I would choose a jump in, because, you know, the jump arc is about, it'll land me right in front of her. So basically, I can do a jump in fireball like that, and do a little forward afterwards. Or even, as you heard, I mean, I can do a fake air fireball. So basically, if you time it right, it's easier with Akuma's jab air fireball, because it comes out rather slowly. As you can see, it's really tricky, because, you know, you'll hear Akuma go through the sound effect of doing the fireball, but it won't come out. Right there. So it's really one of those tricky type of things, because, I mean, obviously, as you can see, if you time it a little differently, you'll get the air fireball right there in that instant. So if they're expecting like a jump in parry, it'll really mess them up. So you can do something like that. Trying to get this right. Right there. So it's just one of those things that you can do when you want to mix up your opponent. So that's all simply doing a jump in fireball, which is really one of his best moves to do. So it definitely beats out doing an early jump roundhouse and then getting punished for it. So there's that, and then you can just mix it up however way you want. Now all this has basically, you can mix this up other ways too by simply doing his cow grab. His cow grab is with forward strong. Another thing to note with his forward strong is that it's invincible to grabs. So if they try to grab you during this, things like it's even immune to supers. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. But so yeah, one thing to note on his forward strong is that it's invincible to all types of grabs. So basically, super would miss, special grabs would miss, and normal grabs would miss. So it's one of those good things to keep in mind when you're playing Akuma. If somebody's like, mashing grab or something like that, or even doing like a whiff power bomb or something like that, or simply stun gun. Which is another thing, like a lot of people get caught with stun gun. This move would actually, avoid all that. So aside from it being a counter grab, you have the 2 hits, it's an overhead. It has a good amount of range, and you can connect into, you can fake it into a demon, but I'll go over that later. So. That's his forward strong. I mean, that's one of the mix-ups that he has. I mean, he can mix it up with counter grab, and then from there, he can do whatever. As long as you space it properly, you should be able to reach after certain moves. So, for example, you would do a close block low forward, you'll be able to reach. Since the mix-up right here is either to do, low forward demon flip or low forward tatsu. So basically the mix-up right here will be to just, block right there. So that works to your advantage. You use that in terms of like being offensive. So it also does a good amount of stun. So as you can see, it does a good chunk. So I feel like it's half life right here. Right there, that's your stun and then your combo. Now another thing to keep in mind with the offensive game is you have to make sure that you know your hit confirms. So the basic ones is just low short short, close forward, which is really good. It's similar to Ken's low strong. For those of you who play Ken too, I mean you can hit confirm it into super. And it's actually good as a sort of frame trap. When you do like low short into tick grab, most people will want a low tech, so it definitely beats that out. Let me go over that really quick.
Are you ready? Go! Into the heat of battle. Go for it. Let's go. Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
As you can see, it beats out any type of late tech. So it's really one of those good moves to use when it comes to doing block strings. So if you want to keep on the offense, keep that move in mind.
Fighters ready.
Now,
Engage.
keep in mind this is all going on the offense, as I said before. Now, a different way to play Akuma would be to play on the defense. You know, that consists of being, you know, jump back air fireballs, you know, using tattoos to your advantage, and then just spaced out tattoos to your advantage, and just find different ways to go about it. You'll notice that, you know, when you play against a character like Hugo, that some players, they like to, you know, play a really spaced out game. For those of you that know Japanese players, you'll notice that that match, he's actually one of those safe type of Akuma players where he does safe things like jump back fireball a lot, you know, spaced out tattoos or something, or just mix-ups that keep him relatively safe. Now, his style of play is really like solid, but it's safe for the most part because he doesn't put himself at a disadvantage with like a whole bunch of demon flips, like Yuki Otoko would do. So, like I said before, you could play Akuma any type of way, but in my recommendation, it's better to play him on the offense since you have a lot more options to go with. You can, you know, play the spacing game if you want when you're playing both offense or defense. You can use your air fireballs for mix-ups. So, for example, you would jump in and then jump back. Early jump back fireball is really good, or late jump back fireball is really good for spacing. Now, for escaping, like if you're in the corner and you want to escape, you have a roundhouse demon flip, which is really good compared to just, you know, regular tattoo like that, because that can get punished or beaten out on wake up. At least with this, you know, it's similar to a jump, but also if the character tries to jump, you can hit them out of the air with a dive kick. It's not really good. Or even if they're in your range, you can just grab them too. So it's one of those things to keep in mind when you're, you know, on the defense. That's another thing. A lot of people tend to go with this, the dive kick sweep. I don't really recommend this because, you know, when people do demon flips, they forget that these demon flips can be blocked crouching. So, see, I'll put the character on all guard. You'll see that she doesn't have to stand up. The good thing about this though is if they block it crouching, you have a chance to cross them up like that. So, which is really tricky. So it's one of those things to keep in mind too. Now you'll see that when I do a regular dive kick, you know, that's jump forward and then down forward. She blocks it up. Now the only mix-up that gives is the fact that, you know, they have to block it upwards. But, you know, another thing is that Akuma actually recovers pretty quickly from this. So if he spaces it out perfectly at the knees, he can, you know, do a dash back into a counter grab or a demon flip or anything of that nature. So it's one of those good moves that he has, especially because if it hits, he can go into Shoryu or any type of combo that he has. So that's that. So yeah, my recommendation, don't really use the demon flip sweep. Not only because of the fact that it can be blocked low all the time, but also it can get punished easily. So it can be punished with super or anything like that. So the only time I would recommend it is if you space it out. So like right here is perfect. like about right here. So that's one of the ways to make sure that you keep it safe, but you know, all in all, I would say not to abuse it. So no, with every that's with his basic gameplay. I mean, I could go over certain mix-ups that you can do, but I mean, that's just something that you can discover, you know, by watching videos, by your own play style. You know, just mix up anything like that. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that he actually has a whole bunch of ambiguous like mix-ups after a hard knockdown. For example, after a low short super, he has something like that. You do low short short, dash up twice, and then forward demon flip. And as you can see, it's either, I mean, basically the trick to that is that if you walk a little bit after the second dash and do the demon flip like that, walk a little bit and then just do it, then you'll get the cross up. But if you don't do that, if you just do it from the dash, then you'll land on the same side. Here's when I walk up a little bit. And as you can see, it's really tricky. So there's a couple things like after a regular grab, you can do a demon flip. Or after a combo, you can walk up. So when it comes to playing the offensive game, this is actually one of the biggest things that help Akuma players, because you can open up your opponent 10 times more when it comes to doing ambiguous cross-ups. So after a basic bread and butter combo, you can do something like that. So there's that, but that's something that, you know, you can figure out by watching mostly Kuroda, because he does it a lot, or just simply, you know, playing. I mean, you can figure it out for some characters in the corner. Another thing, you can mix up the low forward short tatsu with the dash under, or a simple demon flip. Basically what this does is that, you know, the opponent will wonder if you're going to hit them with a demon flip, or if you're simply going to empty demon flip. It's a grab. So that's one of the mix-ups that you have, because if they buffer parry and they miss it, you get a free combo because of the late demon flip. And then right there you get your other mix-up too. I mean, you can do a whole bunch of things. So there's the ambiguous cross-ups. Now another thing, people don't understand the concept of taunts yet. So I mean, with the whole Street Fighter 4 thing, or in the previous games, the taunts don't really do that much. They're only there for like, okay, I'm better than you, so I'm just gonna taunt. But in this game, it has a bigger significance, because they give, a certain boost. So for example, you know, you would do something like a hard knockdown. You can taunt for free, depending on how fast the opponent wakes up. Now, the basic time you really want to do this is if you space them out properly, or if you just do something like a super. So for example, after a super, you have enough time to do a taunt and you get a free power boost. Now you can do this a variety of ways. You can do tattoo like that and then into taunt, and then from there you can, and if you look at the damage, that's almost half her life. So it's one of those things to keep in mind. You have your taunt after like a big punish or a big you know, opening, or you have your demon flips to mix up with, or you have your ambiguous cross-ups to mix up with. So you have that. Now another thing to do this with is his forward tattoo. Basically you can connect a shoryu after that, a super after that, or another tattoo after that. So it's really one of those things to help you out with. So for example, if you used to do a dive kick, you can go into that. It has a little strict timing, so you know you're not gonna get this on the first try. You might want to go into training mode with this if you want to practice it, you know, much more consistently. Oh, this is actually much worse when they quick recover. So with quick standing on, the ambiguous cross-ups actually are much worse. So for example, so these are just the things to keep in mind. The last thing I yeah, with the ambiguous cross-ups. Like I said before, you have the forward tattoos, which can connect into. Do something like that. So these are just the basic options that you have when you want to go on the offense. Now, for techniques, like obviously one of the biggest things that people want to do when they have max meter is to do a demon, like you know, raging demon. Now, people are so obsessed with the fact of connecting this that they do it in the most, not really practical ways. I mean, some of them are decent in certain situations, but other times they will make it so obvious because they will get the first 2 meters, and as soon as they do that, they give it away automatically. You know, because you have to do it in a certain point where you would, obviously you can play on this, with the fact that opponents are expecting you to demon as soon as you get the 2 bars. So you can just do something like dash up and then fierce punch into demon flip, and then just continue your offense. Because basically they'll be afraid of the fact that you have a raging demon and that you can do something like this. obviously they're afraid of something like that. So that's one thing, you know, that you can play on as an Akuma player. I mean, you can see that you have 2 meters and then just go in as much as you can. Now, what will make you a really strong Akuma player is the fact that you can go in and then just mix it up with the carry demon. Now, the basic way to do a carry demon, obviously, you have the first step with it, which is forward strong. So you have your forward strong. What I do is I hold forward just in that instant. I don't hold it forward the entire time. Like, there's different varieties of doing this. You can hold forward, and then when you do this, obviously it's jab, jab, forward, short, and then fierce. So you would have to do 2 forwards when you're doing the carry demon, because you have the forward strong and then you have the regular forward. Now what people do is that, you know, you can hold the forward and then press the buttons, but then go to down forward, and that'll be considered as another forward, and you can just continue the next 2 buttons and the demon will come out. So for example, so as you can see, I hold forward and then I go to down forward, and then it comes out. Now, I mean, that's you know, that's fine when you want to walk up and do it. I mean, you know, you can do it however way you want. You can simply walk up and do it the conventional way. You know, so you can do it a whole bunch of ways. You can even do it from a dash in. So basically, when you dash, you press the jabs twice. So like that, and then do forward strong, and then short, and then fierce, and you'll see that'll come out. So basically, you dash 1, 2, and then just 1, 2, 3. So, or you don't really have to hold the forward. You can just do 1, 2, 3. So you dash 1, 2, and then once you get the dash, you do forward strong, short, and then fierce. So. So that's basically just the first, you know, basic way to do it. I mean, that's not the actual way to do it, you know, the official way, like that. But I mean, if you want to catch somebody with a tricky demon, then that's one way to do it. But you know, that's basically one of the biggest ways that, you know, it's obvious to people. You know, people see a dash, you have 2 bars, okay, I'm gonna jump. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You can also connect it from dive kicks or demon flips. Basically the same way. So you do the demon flip with a dive kick, and you press the 2 buttons as you hit them, or during the demon flip animation. So, and then as soon as you land, forward strong, short, fierce. So that's just the basic way to do it, like off of a demon flip, off of a dive kick, and off of a dash in. Since you're buffering the 2 jabs, you get a free chance to just like get that part done, and then just continue the rest. So now, the conventional way, the official way to do it, my way that I've shown in my tutorial video, is I take it in parts. What I do is, obviously you have to do forward strong. So I do the forward strong, and what I do is I connect it with the jab. So basically I do it like that, similar to a carry grab, how you would go like this. And what you do is you just press the jab rather than both the jab and the short. So you would do like that. 1, 2. And then you press another jab after that. So and then after that, you just make sure that you practice the 1, 2, 3, since that's the next portion of it. So you have and then after that, you just make sure that you get the 1, 2, 3. So it's forward, short, pierce. And then once you get all that, you try to put it all together. So you would do 1, 2, 3. So 1. Good lord. That's cool.
Prepare to strike. Now.
So right here I'm not getting my forwards right, so I'm messing it up. But with a little adjustment, here we go. Now another way you can do it is simply just doing the forward strong and the jab, but then practicing it with the jab first, and then the forward, and then the short, and then the fierce. So basically you will practice it like this, and then jab, forward, short, fierce. And then just put those two parts together too, so it's so it's a little tricky. I mean, once you practice it like consistently, then you'll be able to get it consistently. But it's all a matter of when you press your forward, because the buttons are still gonna be there. So as long as you make sure you press the forward after the jab, then you'll get it for sure. So, I mean, you can also practice it a little easier by hitting the opponent too. So for example, because if they parry it, you'll be able to go into it much easier.
Prepare to strike. Now.
And as you can see, So that's just how you get it, you know, that's how you would get the official Kara Demon. I mean, you can walk up and do it like I showed before, or you can just simply mix it up with block strings and do like low, short, short, walk up, and then do it. So it's all a matter of how you set it up, but the fact that, you know, you have 2 meters is gonna, you know, give a signal to the opponent and say, okay, like he has 2 meters, you know. If he dashes in on me, then I'm gonna get a demon, so let me jump. Now what you do is, you know, once they start jumping, you can really get out on them with unit flips. And that's your pressure right there. And that alone will give you enough chances to get as much damage as you can, get enough mix-ups as you can, and then just go into your super. Because you have to remember, it's not all about simply getting the Kara Demon, it's also about, you know, getting the knockdown, getting the most damage, and having the most meter to work with. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, that's it for the Kara Demon. Most people, you know, with KKZ, you really want to use this only for chipping. I mean, most people would do like jab into KKZ for the combo. I don't really do that because it's not really worth it. Because there's a chance you can mess up, not to mention the fact that if you do it a little later, then they're gonna have to block it and they can punish you for it. But for those of you that are wondering how to do that, you just, as soon as you press the jab, you press the jab and then do it. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, excuse me. And then you can press 2 punches actually, rather than 3. Some people like pressing 3 for some reason. So, like I said before, it's not really practical because, you know, I mean, you can miss it, you can do a whole bunch of things with it. Not to mention the fact that, you know, it's if you miss it, then you get a huge punish that really isn't worth it. But you can mix it up a variety of ways. You can actually do something like, if they're jumping a lot. I did this once before a long time ago. Then again, she's only normal jumping, she's not really super jumping. If they were to super jump and you were to anti-air them with Tatsu, you can actually connect it. But you can do something like that too if you want. But as you can see, it's only like what, half life compared to like just a low forward or something. It does at least a little bit less than that. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do that, you know, would make up for that. So that's what the KKZ. I mean, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it. But it's better to go into like, you know, fierce punch into KKZ if you want to chip them, that is. So basically just use the KKZ for chipping rather than, you know, a combo. So now his jump tatsu, obviously you know how to you can connect moves into this. So after 2 hits of the jump tatsu, you have at least 2 more times to juggle the opponent. So for example, if I was to catch them with 1 tatsu in the air, so 1 like that, I can do 1 tatsu, that's the one, and then a shoryu, which is the second one. So basically you can do at least 2 more specials after it or so, depending on how many hits. So if there was 2 hits, 1, 2, you'll see that you have to dash up for that, but 2 hits, the juggle limit is ended. So I forgot how many hits is the juggle limit, but obviously just put it this way: if it's 1 hit, you can connect the roundhouse tatsu, which will give you 2 hits, and you can do whatever afterwards. But if it's 2 hits, then you'd have to connect into a jab tatsu or a forward tatsu into shoryu. So I'm gonna try to do 2 hits into a forward tatsu into a shoryu. And as you can see, that connects. You have that too. Destroy it. Now, a good thing to use this for example, if you was to do like low short 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 and then into demon flip, a lot of people would tend to jump, or you know, because they're afraid of the grab or they're afraid of the demon flip, so they would try to, you know, to do jump back roundhouse or something like that, or wall jump. What this does is, you know, once you start baiting them out into jumping, you can use tatsu freely in the corner into whatever combo you want. So like 1, 2. This is a tactic that I use a lot too. I would take notice that, you know, the opponent is jumping after a low short short. So I'll do 1 low short short, it spaces me out, and then I just do a neutral jump tatsu. And then I can, from this distance, I can do another tatsu. It's a fierce shoryu, which does a chunk of damage. So you can do 1 short short, wait a little bit to see if they jump, recognize it, jump after them, and then just go into the combo. Recognize it, and then just do whatever. So then 1 short short. Like that. So that's just all about keeping your offense. This is one of the reasons why I say that Akuma is better on offense rather than on defense. So, you know, you have a whole bunch of options in your arsenal. So if you anti-air with jab into tatsu, you can dash up and then shoryu. With some characters you can do the triple tatsu, which people are really fond of for some reason.
Fighters ready. Engage.
So you have to make sure when you do the triple tatsu, you have to make sure that you get one hit of the first tatsu, and then the next two have to be a little early. Once you get 2 or 3, it's not going to work. I mean, you can do something like 2 hits of the first tatsu. So 1, 2, then jump tatsu again. 1, 2. And then shoryu. That does a good amount of damage, obviously 73 points. But for the triple tatsu, you do make sure you get one of the first hits. 1, 2, 3, and then just jump tatsu right there. One way to practice the jump tatsu is to be right here and then just jump. Normally you would jump forward. You normal jump forward and then just a little difficult. Because you have to be wary of the fact that you can do roundhouse instead of the tatsu. So as you can see, it's a little lower, so it's harder to catch the jump tatsu. Like that. So, like I said before, just make sure that you do you do a normal jump tatsu, so you jump forward and then you do the tatsu right then. So another thing you have to make sure is when you do the second tatsu, that second tatsu has to juggle the opponent at the highest possible point. So right here is perfect. Whereas if you do it like right there, it might not work. You have a high chance of missing it. Right then, there's nothing else that can work after that, so after this, there's nothing else you can do. After this, there's nothing else you can do. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things you can do too. You can do shoryu, dash up shoryu. Like that. You can do super. which doesn't really do that much damage, so I wouldn't recommend it. So that's basically how you do the triple tattoo. It's really not that difficult. You just have to make sure that, you know, the second tattoo launches them at the highest point, and the third tattoo you have to make sure you hold forward, and then as soon as you jump, you do it. And like I said, when you keep the opponent on neutral jump like this, you can just practice it easily like that. Like that. If you see that you can get 3 hits like that when they jump, like that. Then you'll be able to get this out, you know, with just a little bit of practice. It's not that difficult. So, aside from that, there's really nothing else to Akuma. I mean, it's mostly just about his mix-ups. You know, when you play him in a certain type of way. So, you know, if you're in the corner, you want to make sure you stick to block strings, like low short into standing forward, close standing forward. That works as a good frame trap. Or another thing, or simply just going into low short, walk up, standing fierce into demon flip. So it's similar to the nature of Street Fighter 4, where, you know, you would do a frame trap like low jab into standing fierce. But, you know, it's all about mixing up the timing of everything. So you want to, like, your demon flips, for example, you mix them up between early demon flip and late demon flip. That would really give you an advantage because, you know, with an early demon flip, people tend to parry early. So, you know, if you do a late one, they're going to miss the parry and then you're going to catch them low. You can do low short super, and then right there, that's your offense. And then you get your mix up, you get your ambiguous cross up, and you get you know, like 3 different options. You get overhead, grab, cross up forward, which is actually similar to Ken's cross up forward. Or you get a demon flip grab. That's like what, like 5 options or something that you have when you knock somebody down. So, or you even get an air fireball. So these are just things to keep in mind when you wanna play a certain type of game. So obviously keep in mind your anti-airs, fierce punch into Tatsu, fierce punch into Shoryu, or jab into Tatsu, or Shoryu into super, which is really good too, or simply just super when they jump in, which is really good too. Jump Tatsu for a good anti-air, or simply just dash under them, and that'll be a good enough way to stop them. So ground fireballs help really well to get your opponent to jump, so that's really a good way to condition them. Playing the ground game, I went over his low forward, which is a little bit better than Ken's. Basically the same footsie rules apply. I mean, you can space out perfectly with this. And jump in air fireballs are really good, jump back fireballs are really good. Neutral jump fireballs are really good too. You can use it for pressure after a knockdown. where simply you can anti-air with fireball. It knocks them down, and then so. And make sure you just know your bread and butter combos, like low forward Tatsu into Shoryu. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing really else to know about Akuma. Except for the fact that, his stamina is weak, but, he makes up for it in overall strength. And recovery on his moves are really good. So, that coupled with the fact that he has a lot of dangerous supers, he's a good character to play with, so it's all a matter of how you want to play him. So, if anybody has any questions about him, like in terms of how to play certain matchups, then you can feel free to message me on my YouTube channel, or simply message me on the group page, or simply just join the chat and just ask me a question there too. So that's pretty much Akuma. Now, if anybody has any questions for Akuma, just feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll just be in the lobby playing matches really quick. And I'll use Akuma too for those of you who came for the character coverage. I'll show you how I play him too. Maybe it'll help you. I'm better now, I'm really not. It's a rank match.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Well, I got the picture. Yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Lock these uppercuts, they may need to capture. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge this.
Well, I got the picture.
Couldn't be talking to me.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. Are you ready? Go!
No, that's just one example of what I was talking about earlier. Lesson learned. Oh Lord, no.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Well, I got the picture. Yeah, I've been waiting for this. Well, I got the picture.
May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge this. See you talking to the game.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this.
I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, fight a...
Are you ready? Go! Let's go!
Chill buttons.
Prepare to strike. Now. Destroy.
This guy again? Don't these people get tired of playing the same thing? Or at least playing the same way?
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3.
Excuse me. I didn't mean that.
Get ready to die. Are you ready? Go. Destroy.
Here. Please do it. What? Another fun fact for Akuma is that his fierce punch is like his fierce punch shoryu is like 1 frame startup, so it's actually the quickest out of all the shoryus. Is it 1 frame? It's really fast. Yeah, it's one frame startup, so it's really good. But what's interesting is that his strong shoryu is actually the worst out of all the shoryus that are even like around. Like it has not the largest startup. It has like a quick startup, 2 frame startup, but the recovery is ridiculous. The range is not even worth it, and the damage is actually less than his. The damage is actually less. No, the active hit points is less than his jab shoryu, which is really weird. But yeah, so the best shoryus to do would be his jab shoryu and fierce shoryu. His other shoryus wouldn't really matter. I mean, his strong shoryu isn't really that good. Too much recovery, less range, not as many active hit frames. Red. Obviously, I didn't go over the red fireballs for a reason. Basically, because they're not really that useful unless they're for chip damage. Like, it's only until after you knock somebody down that you want to use them. So watch him. Like this guy, he would probably want to use like the red fireballs, like that. Obviously, that doesn't work, as you saw. So try it again, please. Try it again, please. Okay, I guess you don't want to try it again. Oh, he wanted to try it there too. And that can be punishable by House Tatsu.
Are you ready? Go!
Oh no, he has 2 meters. I messed it up. But yeah, so I didn't go over the red fireballs because the only one that's useful is the fierce one, but you can only use that for chip like into super when the opponent's low on life and after you knock them down. You don't really want to use it for anywhere else. Unless you you know, knock them down far away with like a Tatsu or something, or a super, and you're full screen and you can do it.